What if a single conversation could symbolize the quiet revolution sweeping across Africa? Picture this: Captain Ibrahim Traore, the bold leader of Burkina Faso, standing across from one of the most recognizable figures in global politics, Donald Trump. No cameras, no statements to the press, just a fictional yet powerful scenario that echoes the real geopolitical shift unfolding across the Sahel. In this imagined exchange, Traore doesn't hesitate. His words cut through decades of silence. Burkina Faso's young revolutionary wasn't just resisting Western pressure, he was challenging the core of global power. And this time, he didn't blink. There was no ceremony, no performance, just a quiet but undeniable confrontation, one that echoed everything Africa has long been trying to voice. The days of silent compliance are coming to an end. For too long, African nations were treated as suppliers of raw materials and targets of foreign aid policies wrapped in conditions. Western troops occupied their soil, while extractive industries left communities impoverished and infrastructures broken. French military operations stayed long after they were welcome. US military outposts multiplied across the Sahel. Corporations walked away with minerals, while clean water and electricity remained luxuries for millions. But a new generation of African leaders has had enough. Captain Traore didn't plead for change, he enforced it. On his terms, he expelled foreign forces, reclaimed national assets, rejected imbalanced partnerships, and extended a hand not to former colonizers, but to nations willing to collaborate with respect, countries like Russia, China, and others that don't arrive with strings attached. In this symbolic face-off with Donald Trump, Traure's statement was unmistakable. "You built your dominance on our silence. That silence ends here." He didn't speak to impress, he spoke to break a pattern. He wasn't performing, he was reclaiming. And his stance is not an isolated one. Colonel Assimi Goïta of Mali and General Abdourahmane Tchiani of Niger have echoed the same call for sovereignty. Goïta ordered the removal of French troops and expelled several foreign NGOs accused of political interference. He redirected Mali's foreign policy, aligning with powers who prioritize security and sovereignty over dominance. Tchiani, on the other hand, exposed one of the clearest examples of imbalance. While the US pays millions to host military bases elsewhere, Niger received nothing for American operations within its borders. Worse still, there were no formal agreements. Intelligence was withheld. Local command structures were bypassed. In some cases, Niger was even left footing the bill for American aircraft operations, a stunning example of exploitation disguised as partnership. Faced with this reality, Tchiani's response was decisive. US forces must leave. These leaders aren't asking for freedom, they're demonstrating what independence really looks like. Traure's fictional confrontation with Trump represents more than diplomacy, it's a shift in posture. A young leader facing one of the world's most powerful men, not with fear, but with purpose. Trump is known for cutting deals, not following protocol. But in this scenario, Traore wasn't negotiating. He was drawing a line. He came not with demands, but with a declaration. Dignity cannot be traded. No longer content to be influenced or dismissed, Africa is seeking partnerships that acknowledge its worth and respect its direction. Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger are leading this shift. And they're not anomalies. They are signals, signs of an emerging Africa that is clear-eyed, determined, and unwilling to be underestimated. This Africa is young, assertive, and pragmatic. It isn't naive about global politics. Its leaders are not perfect, but they are intentional. They've seen the damage of dependency and are choosing a different future. They are building from within. Traure's words, whether imagined in a private exchange or lived out through national policy, echo across a continent. We refuse to be used. Africa is taking ownership of its destiny. The eyes of the world are now on the Sahel. Power is shifting. And whether the West adjusts or retreats, one thing is clear. Africa's silence has ended. A new era of sovereignty has begun.